everyone. We're going to wait just a couple more minutes for our other people to join us. Hey, Paula. It's Maggie, and right now you're the only person on the line. And since I know that you're really experienced as a VISTA supervisor, I pretty much just want to know from you if you have any local candidates already in mind, and if it's okay if they go to school or have outside employment while they're serving at your site. So if you want, I can unmute you and we can just talk right now while we wait for other people to join, or you can type it out in the chat function or the questions function if that's better for you. Oh, okay. Well, don't call me because I'm doing the line right now. But maybe we can chat instead. Is that okay? Okay. So do you already have someone in mind for this year? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started now that we have a couple of other people who have joined us. And Paula, we can finish up later on our specific conversation. So thanks for joining our webinar about recruitment for next year's VISTA program. I'm Maggie Harris. I'm the VISTA program manager. This is a Heads Up Michigan Nonprofit Association. We're calling our VISTA program for the next 3 years the Pathways to Employment program because of the emphasis that we have on workforce development and college access and success. So we have 25 sites currently, and we'll be recruiting for 32 members, and we only have 6 weeks to do it. So this is going to be more like a sprint than a marathon, I would say. Some helpful lingo to help you navigate AmeriCorps if you're new to it. You should call the incoming people VISTA, VISTA member, volunteer, national service member. Those are all perfectly appropriate terms for them. Calling them an employee is not okay. There are legal classifications to being considered an employee, and VISTAs are not employees. They are actually their own legal classification. So similarly, instead of a paycheck, they receive a living stipend or a living allowance for their service. And then you'll often hear me refer to CNCS, and that's the Corporation for National and Community Service, and that's our granting body that makes it possible for us to have a program. Some of the benefits of AmeriCorps VISTA include the biweekly living allowance. that's paid from M&A to the member directly, so they don't have to go through the federal CNCS system. They are eligible for non-competitive eligibility, which is this is exciting because it's a benefit that is only available to VISTA members. Other AmeriCorps members do not receive this benefit. And essentially it means if you are interested in a federal job, you can be hired in on like the internal track rather than having to be considered like an outsider and have to go through like an extra screening process. But the non-competitive eligibility is only available for 1 year after the member serves. Relocation allowance is available if people are relocating to serve 50 or more miles. And then through M&A and through VISTA, they receive extensive professional development training, both in-person ones and virtual ones. Another option that's only available to VISTA members is the choice of an education award or a cash stipend. All other AmeriCorps programs only have the education award as an option. And then AmeriCorps members may qualify for child care based on their personal situations, and they're eligible for healthcare benefits through either like a reimbursement plan or an actual healthcare plan, and that includes dental and vision. So there are several reasons why people would want to participate in VISTA, and Mary and I just completed an interview this morning where the person said that they were interested in it primarily because of the health benefits that were around. So those benefits do matter and can be quite enticing for people. Also, as a heads up, people can only earn the education award twice during the course of their lifetime, regardless of what programs they've done before. And so if you find someone who's like an AmeriCorps superstar and wants to serve for a third term, they will probably have to go with the cash stipend. And we can talk more about that on a per specific basis. Okay, so here's the timeline that we're dealing with for this recruitment process. Right now we're finishing up updating your VISTA assignment descriptions and your performance measures, and we've also begun recruiting, and until June 22nd we'll be doing recruiting, interviewing, and selecting of the candidates. But by June 22nd we'll need to make sure that the member has accepted our offer and that all their paperwork has been submitted to CNCS. That deadline is imposed by the Corporation for National and Community Service so that they can do their necessary screening and background checks before the member goes to pre-service orientation in August, which is sort of the next line. So August 21st to 24th, they go to this pre-service orientation. This is actually the very last pre-service orientation that they'll be doing forever because they're switching to a virtual model. But CNCS will pay for the member or reimburse the member travel expenses to go to like just outside of Chicago for a 3-day training with other AmeriCorps members. And it's pretty great. It's sort of their last chance to do a screening of members before bringing them on board. And at the end of that orientation, they'll be sworn into service. That'll be on the 24th, and then they head home on the 24th, and then they will start at your site on Monday, August 27th. This is our goal. So I want to introduce you to Mary and Zakia. Zakia is not with us right now, but Mary is, and she's currently our VISTA leader. She'll tell you a little bit about what a VISTA leader is and explain her role in the recruitment process.
Hi, everybody. Like Maggie said, I'm Mary, and what I do as a VISTA leader for VISTA members is basic support. We are the liaison between the CNCS, AmeriCorps. We give out resources and just, like I said, overall general support. We help make sure they get their paperwork in on time for our program so that we can then in turn report to CNCS all of the great things that we love to do. For the recruitment process, Zakia and I handle like 99% of the recruitment process. We recruit, we screen, we interview. Later on today or first thing tomorrow morning, you'll be getting an email with us that has some recruitment tips and tools. We recruit through the e-grant system, through Handshake, through a bunch of other systems, but we really want you guys to recruit locally too. It just really helps. You know what you're looking for. You know, if you get a person that's local, they're more in tune to the community. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Zakia at any time. Or if you have any questions, let Maggie know right now, and I'll do my best to answer.
Yep. Great. Thank you, Mary.
Welcome.
Okay, so now getting into the actual process of what we're doing on our end and what you can expect during the next 6 weeks. So the VISTA candidate will apply through the my.americorps.gov website for our various positions. This is a screenshot of what the website looks like. Generally, it's easiest to go to the search listings function, which is the second red line. And then you can search VISTA programs in the state of Michigan, and all of ours are labeled with pathways to employment. We'll also send you your specific link in that follow-up email that Mary talked about. So we'll receive notification about the application, and we'll contact the VISTA for a first round interview, which is generally like a soft skills screening to see what their background is, where their interest lies, and then what their experience is in terms of teamwork and problem solving, and what they want from supervisors, and make sure that they also understand the basic, like, you're in AmeriCorps, this is a year-long commitment, you're not going to make a lot of money, what's your plan for dealing with that sort of thing. So after that interview, if we think that they're a good fit for your site, we will pass them along to you. And it'll be up to you to conduct a second round interview with them. And then you will notify us whether or not you want us to offer the position to the candidate, and we will contact the candidate with the offer. So this is a sample of what the position description looks like. There's a narrative blurb at the top about why this work is occurring and what the VISTA's role will be with it. This section for member duties specifically addresses it's essentially the activities portion of the VAD. So it'll say overall what the member will be expected to do. And then you'll also see in the contact section that while it has the site's address on there, it has all of Mary's contact information on there. So that way, again, like, we're screening the candidates and they're not bothering you while you're trying to live your daily lives. But we also didn't want to confuse them by putting a Lansing address on there so that they know where they would actually be serving. Oops. Anna, in response to your question about not seeing anything on your screen, I'm not sure why that's happening. Maybe that will help. Okay, great. So, so that's the position listing. And then, okay, so we did already talk about the first round interviews. So a combo of Mary, Zakia, and myself will do the interview, and we do them by phone unless they're in the Lansing area. Sometimes they're even in our office, and so then it makes sense to do an in-person interview. On our end, it's okay with us if VISTAs apply for multiple positions. We're recruiting for 32 positions in our program, and there's a lot of overlapping interest because of the focus on education and workforce development. And so it'll be really important on your end, once you receive a candidate's information, that you contact them promptly to set up another interview, because there's a chance that they could be fielding multiple offers during this part of the process. So once we do the interview and we like the person, we'll upload their information to your site's Google website, which we have set up for you. And then that way you'll be able to track all of their application materials and that sort of thing. You can compare and contrast, and we won't be filling up your inbox with like large documents, large
multiple emails. Yeah.
Well, we will fill it up with multiple emails, but it'll be like, hey, we just interviewed someone, check out the website,
right.
That sort of thing, rather than all those attachments. That's what I was trying to say. I guess large, like, files, I don't know. And then you'll also see on the candidate review website that there's a toolkit option, and Mary and Zakia have put together some recruitment materials that you can update for specifically your site to engage in local recruitment, and you'll be able to download them from the Google site too. So then you'll contact the candidate to do a second round interview, and that's where you'll ask site-specific questions or VAD-specific questions to really dig in and see how comfortable are they with managing volunteers, or will they fit with the culture of your organization and what you're trying to accomplish? Why are they passionate about employment for disconnected youth, that sort of thing. We encourage you to do those second round interviews in person or via Skype, so that way you can have some FaceTime with one another. A side note, so after the second round interview, that's when you would contact us and tell us that you want us to make an offer to the person, or that you're gonna pass on them. CNCS requires 2 references from the members, and it cannot be from family or friends, and the references have to be completed before we can formally offer them the position and put them into the system. So if you feel really good after a second round interview with people, you might want to use that as an opportunity to remind them to get their references done if they haven't already. Because honestly, references are usually the biggest holdup in this part of the process. And it gets that much harder because we're doing this in May and June, and a lot of people use school, like professors or people who were their employers while they were at school and that sort of thing, and they go on vacation and don't check their email. So it delays the process that much more. Okay, so you will rank your candidates, and then you'll email Mary or Zakia an overall ranking sheet of the candidates, and then each candidate's specific evaluation, which you can find those documents on the Google site that we'll send you the link for. We do need the answers to the questions below, but those shouldn't be the only questions that you ask during the second round interview. And then if you're really torn about between 2 candidates, or you're feeling on the fence like, well, this person might be okay, and they're the only person who's applied, so I don't know if I should settle for them or not, we'd be happy to conduct a third round interview with that candidate with some additional M&A staff, just to get an outside perspective on and support you in the process. We haven't had to do that before, but there's a first time for everything, and I want you to be aware that support is available to you if you're struggling with it. So you should also know that, again, because candidates might be fielding multiple offers, they might not accept the offer to serve at your site. They might go somewhere else, and then by completing that ranking sheet, it allows us to go directly to the number 2 candidate and offer them that position, and again, keep things moving on a pretty speedy basis. Timeline, yeah. Timeline. Okay. So M&A has to be the one to call and offer the position to the candidate. A lot of times supervisors get excited and they say at the end of the interview, like, great, you're a fit, we'll take you. And that discounts our additional paperwork that we need to do on our end, including the screening of the references, so that way we cannot extend an offer to people and then revoke it. Once the offer is extended, that's like, it puts you in a different sort of legal position with things. And so M&A has to be the one to do that, because we're the granting body for this program. So So if the candidate says yes, then we formally select them in the CNCS database. Then they log into the database and they formally accept it. And this all occurs before June 22nd, which is our deadline. And then we send their information to CNCS and they start doing their background magic. And happily, we all live happily ever after. But if we call the candidate to offer them the position and the candidate turns the position down, we'll continue recruiting for your host site and hopefully find somebody else before June 22nd. If you hate everyone that we send to you, or we really cannot find like a good candidate for your site, we will continue recruiting for a November start date, but that is not that's not our goal. Our goal is to have everyone start in August, but we won't leave you hanging. We'll keep recruiting for November. So our recruitment strategy, we do national recruitment through the MyAmeriCorps system. We also, through M&A, take advantage of the Michigan Virtual Career Fair. Michigan Nonprofit Association has a job center, and we get to do the VISTA postings for free on the job center. And then we also have access to our affiliate, Michigan Campus Compact, and get to utilize their resources as well. And we also, Mary and Zakia have been attending recruitment fairs for the last couple months, and so already have a list of people who are interested in AmeriCorps positions. And then we're also posting on volunteer sites like Indeed and Idealist and Volunteer Match. And then we're also posting positions on Handshake, which is sort of the job board or the career site for specific colleges and universities. So they have to opt into that to use it, but it's sort of a one-stop shop. So we're using Handshake and then also contacting other colleges and universities to post it on their boards as well. And then in terms of local recruitment, I know Mary talked about this before, but we really strongly encourage sites to engage in local recruitment. It's the best way to find ideal candidates. And as I said before, we've pre-drafted some recruitment materials that you can customize for your site. If you do get candidates locally, or if you found someone like your Vista's like, hey, my friend is interested in serving and he's from my hometown too, feel free to do your screening interview with them first and then have them pass along the information to us. The timeline that I originally presented about M&A doing the first round and the site doing the second round, that part's flexible. It doesn't matter what order it goes in, just all the pieces have to occur. All the steps have to happen for it. We've also received some questions from people about finding an AmeriCorps member who previously served at a different program, and that's wonderful. We find that there's a lot, people who've done AmeriCorps before know what they're getting into in terms of the living stipend and what the expectations are. And so they can make wonderful VISTA candidates too. I would just encourage you to talk to the supervisor, their AmeriCorps supervisor, if you can, and get some information, because I don't have access to that information. So someone could have served previously but been like a disaster while they were serving, and I wouldn't know about that through the AmeriCorps system. So we kind of have to do like a reference check on them that way. And then also, because some of your sites deal with children, you might have specific security clearances or background check information that you need done for your members. And please know that on our end, Vistas will be fingerprinted and will go through an FBI background check, but we don't receive the results of that check unless they're negative. And even if they are negative, I don't receive what that actually is. I'll just find out that they were disqualified from service. So M&A has a form that the members sign saying that we can perform a background check on them, but you should think about what the process is at your site in terms of background checking people, and then what you need to do to implement that part of your budget. And we can talk more about that offline if you have specific things that you want to talk about. A lot of times school districts have special requirements that other nonprofits don't have. And then in terms of criminal history, the things that would just automatically disqualify you from service is if you is if they've been convicted of homicide. I think it's a violent crime. I know homicide is one of them. And if it was a sexual crime. So, and we can also talk more about that if you're unsure about somebody that you have in mind. Okay. Those are the CNCS requirements for it, not our program's requirements, the criminal distinctions. So at this point, I'm open to questions. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Mary, I almost missed this. Mary and Zakia created this video, and I'm trying to have it load. I don't think you can hear the sounds on it right now, but we'll send you the link to it. And I was thinking that maybe this year that could be a fun additional recruitment material that you could blast out to people, either with your current Vista about why your site is a great place to be, or maybe from you and the supervisor, from you and your staff, about why people would want to serve at your site. And you can see that Mary and Zakia's video is like a minute long, so it doesn't have to be a big deal, but it could be an additional resource that's kind of fun in the process. So we'll send you the link in our follow-up email so that you can get more, so you can watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah, right.
Because it's really good. Okay, so we just covered a ton of information. What questions do you have? And if you, also I have a poll here. If you have a problem with your, oh no. So if you can take the poll too and let me know if, okay, I don't know how to do a poll. If you guys can just tell me if you're okay with a Vista going to school or having outside employment while they're serving with you, that will also help us during the recruitment process, knowing which candidates we should not recommend for your site, or what additional benefits are available to them in that regard. Okay, so if you have a question, I can unmute you, raise your hand and I can unmute you, or you can ask in the question box. And other than that, please feel free to, okay, thanks, Paula. Please feel free to sign off, and thank you for attending the webinar today. And we'll be in touch soon. We have already started our interviews, and it's very exciting. So hopefully you'll be hearing from us soon. So Maria asked about the date of June 22nd. That's when we want to make sure that the member has accepted the offer. I'm not sure what's the first day again. We've already started the recruiting process, Maria, so I think it's just now until June 22nd. And then they'll essentially start their service August 21st when they go to pre-service orientation. So you want to make sure that they're available then. Yep, thank you. Okay, and if you can, type in the chat box now and let me know if you're okay with the person going to school or working an outside position in addition to serving with your site. Yep, we'll send you a copy of the PowerPoint in the follow-up email as well. Anita, I didn't receive any of your questions, so if you can resend them, that would be good. And then Anna, if you don't see a fit for in the candidates, you're not required to select a Vista, but we'll only be recruiting through November. So if there isn't a fit by that point, then we'll need to look at what the next steps will be in that part of the process. But we believe in the proposed project that you've put forth, and so we're committing to finding someone to actually implement that work. And we'll see if you have specific like qualifications that you're looking for in a person outside of what you initially addressed in the VAD. After we send you the first couple candidates, if you hate who we're sending, just be more specific about what you'd like us to do too. Communication will be really, really important during this process. Okay, thanks, Anissa. I got your response. Anna, do you have any other questions? Yep, I look forward to receiving updated VADs and performance measures, as that will also help us with recruitment so that we can find candidates that best fit with the actual activities that they'll be doing. So if you can send them to me in the next week or so, I would appreciate that. Other than that, thanks for attending the webinar. We'll be following up with emails. A lot of emails and communication will be occurring during the next 6 weeks or so, and we're really excited about supporting your projects into the next year. So please reach out if you have any other questions or concerns. Anissa, I don't think so. I think you're listed as a supervisor on both, but I will double check that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to close up. Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye.